Hi and welcome to this video tutorial about how to create graphs in Excel and then use them as the basis for an informative report. For Essential Skills IT, you have to show that you can create a graph in Excel and then copy and paste it into a Word document to create a report that you could then give to someone who is interested in how the project turned out. So as you can see, I've opened up my finished height spreadsheet here and I'm going to use Excel's built-in graphs and charts feature to create a simple bar graph, which I'll then copy and paste into Microsoft Word to create that report. So let's make a start then. The hardest part about creating the graph really is it's just telling Excel what data you want to include in the graph, because after that Excel really does all the hard work for you. So I'm going to create a graph of names along the bottom of the graph and heights up the side of the graph, which I think is the most informative one for anyone who's interested in the project. So what you've got to do, you've got to select the names and then select the heights. Now straight away you can see we've got a bit of a problem there, because when I select the names and then select the height, the names become unselected. The secret is to use the control key. So I'm selecting all the names there, and now I'm holding down the control key on the keyboard and I'm selecting the height, and you can see they're now both selected, the names and the heights. Then really it's just insert up here, then the type of graph you want. I'm going to create a simple column graph here, and then the type of graph that you want, and the next click I do will actually create the graph. If you just want a simple 2D column graph, which is your basic one, then it's up here, or same thing but 3D, or you've got cylinders and cones and all sorts. For level 1, you just need a simple 2D chart that I'm going to create now. For level 2, you'll need to experiment with a few more of these types, and even a few more of the this type of graph, different scatter charts, bar charts, pies, to show that you've got that little bit extra depth of knowledge. But I'm going to create a simple 2D here, and the next click literally creates the graph, and there it is. I'll move it over here a little bit. And I mean, that's an okay graph. It shows the names, it shows their heights, and it's quite informative. You can see in a very graphical way who's the tallest, who's the shortest. But it does need a little bit extra work here. It's okay, but it needs a couple more things. For one thing, it needs a title. All graphs should have a title. And it also needs axes labels. This hasn't got anything. We need it to say name down here below the names, and we need it to say height in meters. And we need to get rid of this as well, because that's only this, what they call the key here, or the legend, is only useful in charts where that show two different types of data. Like if we had, for example, height and weight on here. So we're going to get rid of that. But first, I'm going to give it a title and some axes labels. Now, with Excel, it's not a matter of creating new text boxes down here and typing into those. It's actually simpler than that. What you do is you choose a different, what they call a different chart layout. Now, if you follow my cursor up here to the chart layout section, each one of these chart layouts gives a slightly different setup, a different layout for the chart. For example, if I choose chart layout number 1 here, you can see that's actually what we've got now, so it doesn't change. That's actually what you start with. If I choose number 2, you can see lots of things change, and that might be suitable for some setups and for some uses, but that's not really what we want. We haven't got that x-axis label down here, or the y-axis label that we can type into. 3 is not much better. That one's, it's got somewhere for us to type in an axis title there. I'm going to skip a few because I'll skip straight to the one you should be using, which is layout number 9. That's got exactly what we want. It's got somewhere to type in a title, somewhere to type in axis title, somewhere to type in another axis title there. So I'm going to go with that one. And now I'm ready. I can get rid of this now, and I can type in a title for this. And they usually start with graph of, or graph to show, something on those lines. Oops. Helps if you can spell graph. Graph of student heights. There we go. And the x-axis, the horizontal axis is name, and the vertical axis here is height in meters. with the meters in brackets there. So that's the graph finished, really. As I say, if you're doing level 2, I'll just make it a little bit wider so you can see all the names there. Rachel L. Was a little bit untidy there. For level 1, that's good enough, and in a second we're going to go ahead and paste that into a Word document. For level 2, you will have to experiment with more of these different types of graph that we saw earlier. And also in the Design tab of the Chart tools up here, there's a gallery of lots of different looks that you can give to your graph, like making each of the bars look a little bit more 3D or even something even more fancy like that. So for level 2, you will have to do a bit more experimenting with the types of chart and the look of the chart as well. But for level 1, a simple chart like that is good enough. So now at this point, you might want to pause the video and have a go at creating the graph yourself. Then come back to it and I'll show you how to get your graph into Word and create the report. Or if you like, you can stay with me and watch the whole video, then have a go, or you can start it again from the start. It's up to you now entirely. But I'm going to go ahead now and show you how to get that nice graph into Microsoft Word. So to get the graph into Word, it's really just a matter of copy and paste. Selecting the graph, you can copy and paste from the home menu up here. You can do a copy there, or you can right click on it and copy, or Control C works as well. I'm going to use the right click method. So I'm copying that. That's now in memory and it's ready for me to paste into a Word document. So I'm going to open up a Word document from here. A new Word document. A blank one there. Let's get rid of that panel there. Zoom out a little bit. I'm going to add a heading first of all, a heading of graph and report. And I'm going to paste my graph in. Now I'm going to use the right click method here. Right click, and you see the paste options. It gives you 5 paste options, and I'll do slightly different things. There's picture, there's keep source formatting, and a couple of others. The one you really want there is picture. That just pastes it in as if you'd taken a screenshot of it when we were in Excel just now, and it's not going to change. For example, if your spreadsheet changes, make it a bit bigger, just so it's nicely centered on the page there. And then you're ready to type your report. Underneath the graph there, I've double clicked there. If you're finding your cursor, you can't get your cursor, try double clicking. And we're nearly there now. It's really now about typing something under here, remembering it's for someone that is interested in how the project went and what you found out. For example, it should restart with something like, as you can see from the graph. Oops. Let's get my cursor down there before I start typing. As you can see from the graph. Etc., etc. And just summarizing the whole project and what you found out. As if for someone, you could hand this out, you could print it out and hand it out as a flyer or a leaflet to people that were interested in in how everything went, and particularly what you found out by doing the spreadsheet exercise and doing the Heights project in its entirety. If you're stuck for what's say, I do have some examples you can look at. If you can just ask me for those. So that's the end of this video tutorial on how to create graphs in Excel and then use them as a basis for an informative report. Feel free to watch the video again in its entirety, or bits of it, or rewind certain bits and just watch bits until you've got it. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. So thanks for watching and see you next time. But don't forget, if you've got a suggestion for a video tutorial, you can leave feedback via the link on Moodle, which is in the FAQ section, same place you found this video, and I'll then make a video for the suggestion that you make. Thanks and see you next time.